guys, so a friend of mine's daughter just started cosmetology school, and my buddy asked me if I'd be open to giving her a class. So what we did is we put it on film and we busted out the one length trim. Now the one length trim is probably the first haircut you learn in cosmetology school. It's the most basic haircut, no layers, no graduation, just a blunt cut. So what I decided to do is edit out just the highlights, as this class was about a 2.5 hour class. So I didn't want to share the whole entire video, but I just kind of pulled out the highlights. As you can see, I'm editing it behind me, and I thought I'd share it with you guys, so I hope you enjoy this video. Now, there's a couple ways to do it. One, I could cut it in my fingers like that. That's probably the worst of the three. And the reason is because my finger acts as a step like the backrest of the chair did. So it's not going to be perfectly straight. We want to get a perfectly straight line by eliminating any obstacles that the hair has to go over. So that means we're going to want to cut it flat on the back. So I'm going to take my hand and I'm going to hold it against her back like that. Okay, and then from there, instead of holding it through my fingers, I'm going to hold it against her back and cut the straight line right there. Okay? And so this gives us the flatness of her back as a nice even plane to be able to cut that. So I'm going to let you do this side. You know, sometimes you can feel if the hair is unbalanced versus see it, because it's so subtle. And can you feel the difference? Sometimes I'll literally close my eyes because taking the sense of my vision away increases the sense of touch. Okay, another thing you can do is just take your comb and just come down with it, and you can see where the hair, as the hair comes through it, where you might have a little bit of a longer piece than the rest. As long as you're not holding your comb sideways, you can sometimes use the comb. Just because this cape is dark, her hair's dark, it is a little difficult to see the exact line. Okay, perfect. So now what we'll do is we're going to take the next section down. And have you ever asked your instructor yet how big of a section you should take? Has that question ever come up yet? Or not yet?
Yes.
Okay, what was their answer?
They usually say like an inch-ish.
Okay.
I don't know.
It's not a bad answer. Oh, go ahead. Okay, so the answer I like to give is it's honestly going to depend on the thickness of the hair. So if I took an inch, which is about what I did, her hair's so thick, the cape's so black, her hair's so black, I can't actually see the guideline underneath. I can see this guideline over here, but I can't see the guideline underneath, which means I'm going to need to take a smaller section. So the section size is really determined on if you can see your section underneath. So the guide underneath, you see that guide? You can actually start to see it right here through the hair.
Yeah.
So, hair is drying on us, but once we spray it, you'll be able to see it even a little bit better. So, let's go ahead and spray it. And I'm going to comb this water through. Okay, so, can you see it right here?
Yes.
Okay, so as long as we can see it, then we're safe to cut. If we can't see it, then we'll want to take a smaller section. This is the side that's going to have more hair because she parts her hair on that side and brings it over here.
Right.
So, what we're going to do for this next section is we're going to do another section from here, but all the way to the front of her head. So, I'm going to place my comb right there at the back. I'm going to place my finger right here where I want to meet my comb, and then they're going to come and meet each other. And that's too small of a section, so I'm going to do a little bit bigger. And a little bit bigger. Let's see how much hair we got. And because the sides of the hair have less hair than the back, because if you think about the back of the head has hair from the top all the way to the neck, but the sides only have hair from the top to the top of the ear. So the back has double the hair. So we might actually be able to take bigger sections here because there's less hair. So I'm going to take a little bit bigger section so we can actually have some good amount of hair to work with. Okay, so there we go. Then I'm going to comb this hair out of the way. Okay, so now what we need to do is divide this hair into two parts. What's behind the ear is still the back, and what's in front of the ear will be the front. So I'm going to take my finger right here where the ear is, and I'm going to section off the hair that is in front of the ear. Okay, so same thing. Let's squirt this right here. I'll let you do this one again. Your last one was really good. And when the cape is a lighter color, oftentimes it's way easier to see the section. But can you see the section now?
Yes.
Okay, good. So why don't you go ahead, and you're probably going to have to do this in several cuts. So one cut, because we're all the way over here to the left, will be bam, bam, bam. And then you'll have to comb right here, and then probably do a couple more. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And as you work your way to the end, it's a good idea to observe, are my scissors slightly angled? It's very common for people to drop their hand. I don't know if it's, I don't know what it is. I can't remember why I did it, but I did it too. If it's laziness or just you're not paying attention, but it's very easy to do that. And then what happens is your line actually starts to go up. So as you're cutting, pay attention, is my scissor horizontal or is it angled? And,
So it's like angling down.
yeah, and I noticed, you know why?
Why?
Because she's on one foot instead of two.
Abby.
But as soon as someone switches their weight, it switches their shoulders. And this is, the way I'm standing is probably not ladylike. But after 20 years, this will hurt your back.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of female friends that are stylists, and because they don't do this, they do this. When they get, because this is low, right? You get down here, they've got the worst back pains now, 20 years later, 25 years later. So I learned, because I had a bad back because of football and not knowing how to lift weights. So I couldn't even do that like early. So I've always had to keep my back straight, but I just lower my body by doing this. And you'll probably see more men do this, but it really does help save your back. So I guess as long as you're in pants and not a skirt, just a tip on saving your back.
Yeah.
But I've had a lot of clients who are like, you're like doing the splits. Yeah. Otherwise my back will kill. I mean, because 10 hours of this, right, all day?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that
Doesn't
would.
feel good.
Yeah, I would go home with the tightest back.
I already do. Hair school's killing me. So I'll take any tips I can get.
Yeah. And haircuts really are just one section at a time. Like if you break down a haircut, it's relatively simple to do. You just got to be able to do one section at a time.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people get overwhelmed by doing an entire haircut. But if you can tackle one section and then tackle the next section and break it down into just sections, it's actually a super simple process. So one thing to keep in mind with this front section right here is some of the strongest cowlicks that we have on our head are right here at the front, right here at the crown, and right there at the neck. And a cowlick, in this case, you can see her hair is pushing upwards right here, and that could be partially, did you blow dry your hair that way, or is that just natural? Okay, that's just natural. It's pushing her hair up. So what that means, and she has a lot of hair, she has a lot of thick hair, probably not something that I'm too worried about her, but let's say she didn't have a lot of thick hair, and I cut this line perfectly straight, and she's got wispy, finer hair, and this cowlick is super strong. When it dries, guess what this front's gonna do? It's gonna shrink up. Yeah, so now this line went from being perfectly straight to being rounded. So if the client is somebody who's like, I want a perfectly straight line, then you might have to actually right here start to angle down so that as it dries, it actually dries straight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
She's got a ton of hair, not really worried about it. Her hair's thick, it's pretty, it's heavy, it's not gonna shrink up as much as somebody who doesn't have a lot of heavy, thick hair. Her hair's healthy. We could put a small dab of blow drying lotion into it, but I'm gonna try with that. I've never done her hair before, so I don't know how it's gonna react, but I think we could probably get away with doing no product. If her hair was not healthy, had a lot of flyaways, split ends, those are when blow drying lotions are gonna be nice because it's gonna make it look smoother. But her hair's pretty healthy, it's smooth. I don't think it needs product. It may as we start to dry it, we'll see how it reacts. She probably already knows the answer, so we could also ask her. But if she doesn't know the answer, you know, you can gauge by looking how smooth and healthy her hair is, and heavy too, right? Like I said, she's got thick hair, so it's heavy. It's not going to be fly away. It's not going to, you know, be something that we want to add some product so that it makes it. Product is going to make it kind of more. Sticky is not the right word, but stick together. So it's not fly away. They don't kind of like get this staticky looking look. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so one thing to think about with hair is you know the shingles on a roof? Have you ever seen what hair looks like under a microscope?
Yes, actually.
Okay, just like the shingles on a roof, right?
Yes.
Okay, so if the shingles on going down the hair are like the shingles on a roof, then what makes hair look unshiny when you blow dry it is when you start to blow the shingles away from each other. The way to make hair look shiny is you got to blow the shingles smooth down the hair shaft. So, for example, what you never want to do is blow the hair up or to the side necessarily because you're making the shingle slightly open. You want to blow down. That's going to seal, the heat is going to seal those shingles on your hair shaft to be nice and smooth, which is going to make the hair look shiny. If the shingles start to lift up on the hair, and it's microscopic, but if they start to lift up all over the hair shaft, that's what's going to make it look dull and not shiny. So we want to make sure we're always aiming, for the most part, down. You can aim a little to the side, but you don't want to ever go up. Okay, so we're going to look at a couple points as we blow dry. One is here. We want to make sure that we're pulling this nice and tight right at the roots, okay? Her hair's straight, so we don't have to worry about people that have wavy hair. Sometimes you'll see hairstyles only focus on making this part dry, but if you look at the roots, they're kind of bending because they didn't focus on making the roots dry. So, are you right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
Right-handed. Okay, so you hold the brush in your right hand? Okay, cool. So do I. So what we're going to do is I'm going to use my fingers first. I'm going to scoop the hair up, use my fingers to pull. See, I've got good tension on her. I can pull her head back. And that tension is basically so that I can get the hair straight. And I'm aiming the blow dryer down. And as I work my way down from the roots to the ends, I'm just pulling. And then as I get here to the ends, I'm going to use my brush and smooth it out a little bit. I'm going to raise her up a little bit so she's taller. Okay, so another thing you can do is take your thumb and kind of like a flat iron, you're going to pull. See, I got a lot of good tension here. So I'm holding on with the hair with my thumb, and that's just basically closing up those cuticles, or basically closing those up so that there's a lot of shine into it. I'm making sure that those roof shingles, for example, are not lifting by smoothing them out with my thumb. With the hair at the end quite warm. Hair's a lot like any kind of material, like I like to talk about camel wax as an example. When wax is hot, it's a liquid, right? It can drip out of the candle. But the minute it gets cool, it hardens into whatever form it's been left in. Hair is the same way. You put hair in a curling iron, and while it's hot, it's not quite a liquid, but it's mobile. And then you take it out, and the minute it gets cool, it stays completely curly. So, same thing. We want to get the hair nice and hot, and then sometimes you have to let it cool off before you let go. If she had really wavy hair, I would probably hold it. Because if I let it go when it was hot, it might spring back up to her waves. In this particular case, she doesn't have wavy hair, but it doesn't hurt to give it a minute before you let go to allow the hair to harden into that form, the straight form. Does that make sense? Again, it's aiming the hair down. We want to keep it as smooth as possible. You'll see this a lot. And look what, like the hair is just blowing everywhere. I see that all the time, and I don't understand why. I mean, they just don't know maybe. You really want to make sure you're controlling the hair and blowing it straight down so that you can make it as smooth and shiny as possible. Some stylists, when it's really wet, do this. And that's okay because you're getting the moisture out. But once you're trying to finish it, that's when you want to, be really controlled with where the air is blowing. What I'm going to do actually is, to create a little more volume, I'm going to hand dry the roots, not the ends. I'm going to do it section by section. So just pulling this, and I'm going to blow dry it the opposite way it's going to fall. So we're going to blow this up in here. And I'm pulling with tension so it's nice and tight and firm. I'm getting all of the water out of the roots, making sure it's totally dry. And then I'm going to take another section, do the same thing, push that over to the other side, blow it up. This way when it comes back, it'll have more volume. Does that make sense? So I'm going to grab my thumb, put it there at the bottom. And the thumb is, like, again, it's kind of acting like, almost like a flat iron. It's just getting the hair, smoothing it out right before it goes into the brush. Get it hot. What we do from here is we take her head and we ask her to look down, and as she looks down, this exposes all the graduation that gets accumulated through the cut underneath. So let me show you. See, this right here is the line, right?
Right.
And this stuff right here is the graduation. When she's looking straight up, you don't see it. However, in normal life, she's not always going to look straight up. She's going to look down at times. And so because I know that, I want to make sure that this line gets strengthened up. In case she's at the cashier and she looks down into her wallet, we don't see all this graduation. Because of what I've done for 20 years as a business, at one point in my life, I see a lot of graduation in the grocery store and the lady in front of me. So I think to myself, that stylist did not remove it. So I'm going to have her look down again. Wide tooth comb, you see that underneath there?
Yeah.
I'm just going to take the comb to hold it, and then I'm going to cut that underneath out. And that's not, I'm not cutting the line, I'm just cutting the graduation that's underneath the line. And you will always have graduation, and if you cut the hair through your fingers, or you don't ask her to stand up, you're going to have more graduation. Mm-hmm. By doing what we did, we actually have less graduation, but there always is going to be graduation. And you see how the line is much stronger now?
Yeah.
Before it was a straight line, just like drawing a line without a ruler. But you can see now, it's just a strong line, right?
Yeah. What products are really good for static? Because I have the worst staticky hair in the winter.
Okay, so so you know what's a good product? So something light, really, really light, because you don't want it to look greasy.
Right.
So you know what's really, really light? Believe it or not, hand lotion. Because it's really light, you put it in your skin and you don't even feel it anymore, right? Mm-hmm. Put a drop of hand lotion, go like this with your hands, get it into your hands, and when there's like no residue left, tilt your head to the side and do this. yeah, and hand lotion will take that static out.
Sounds good.
Yeah, guys, so I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up. If you have any questions, don't forget to put them in the comments section below. And don't forget to subscribe to this channel for more great videos. And I want to thank you so very much for watching.